Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Eisenhower Eagle Football Review. I'm Tim Meyer with Coach Chris Smith, and tonight, Coach, you came down to Grosse Pointe again, and this time at South, and came up short tonight, 8-2, and more like a baseball score than a football score. You had some good offensive plays, but couldn't seem to put it in the end zone. Give me a little bit of your take on that.
What I saw is turnovers. We moved the ball well, but we turned the ball over twice, critical situations. And we had a lot of holding calls that backed us up. I mean, we're moving the ball good, and we get a holding call. We're moving the ball good, and we fumble. So I think we had over 300 yards rushing again, but we can't get rid of this turnover bug. It's been a problem for us all year, and the penalties haven't really been a problem tonight. We had a lot of penalties, and that's been odd for us this year. But the turnover, we haven't been able to shake the turnovers.
I just got back from going over the Mackinac Bridge, and your passing game tonight. You might as well have been on that bridge with the win tonight.
Right. Yeah. It was a windy night, and we tried to put the ball up, and I think we made a couple nice passes, couple nice catches. Paul Kessler, I know he made a nice catch. And but it's tough in a night like this. You got to be able to run the ball. They did a nice job, with in between the tackles. But I thought we did a nice job getting the ball to the perimeter and making some good plays out there. And we're real close to breaking a few of those.
You had some good play tonight from some defensive guys that maybe, you really weren't going to count on earlier in the year. But Jelli and Wright came up and made some nice plays for you.
Right. We're trying to, we're trying to find guys. We got some linebackers out. We've got a lot of injuries right now defensively, and it's not helping a young defense. But, again, we need guys to step up and make plays, and I think, we're rotating a lot of guys, and we're finding guys that can play.
Hey, and you talk about a young defense, but one of the strengths of your defense is your defensive line, and the guys played pretty well tonight with Volksani and Vitaggio.
Yeah, those guys have been doing a nice job. They're getting better and better every week. We've really been practicing hard with those guys and the techniques and things like that, and so I've seen improvement from those guys every week.
And you're going to go back and you're going to look at the film. You haven't seen the film yet, and that's fair. But is there something that you could think of right now that you may want to change?
No, there's nothing that we're going to change. I mean, we're going to continue to stick with our plan, and like I said, we just got to eliminate the mistakes.
A little bit about next week's game. It's a big game for you guys, and talk a little bit about your opponent next week.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing at Chippewa Valley, and they got some great receivers and a quarterback that's back from last year, and tremendous athletes, especially on their perimeter. So we're going to have our hands full defensively, trying to defend those guys, and offensively, we got to be able to control the ball and move the ball on them.
What about your young quarterback? He did have a rough night tonight, all in all, and that last pass and the linebacker tipping it out of his hands, and boy, you seen it with his head down. You have to feel for the young man.
Yeah, I went over there and told him. I mean, it's a tough position he's in, being a sophomore quarterback, and he puts a lot of things on his own shoulders, and so he takes things real hard, play after play. But he's got to learn. He's young, but he's got to learn to brush those things off and be able to just reset his thinking and go on and move on to the next play. But he's very competitive, and he really takes things onto his shoulders too much right now as a young guy.
Tough Eagle loss. The defense played really well tonight, and one of the leaders of defense, Lucas Jelli, and Lucas, you're flying all over the field tonight. Did you have a little special something you get along tonight?
Not really. It was a tough game, and we played what we could. Our offense did what they could. Our defense, we held our offense up the whole game, which was kind of what we had to do. We have to stick it together and play as a team.
How frustrating is it for you to come down here and it looked like you had so many chances, maybe to put scores on the board and just not, you kept coming back. I mean, when you had chances and you had to keep coming back, how do you keep getting back up and getting back up?
I thank our captains for that. They really put the morale back into the team for us. If it was left to us, we would probably all have our heads down at halftime saying, how could we let this happen? But the defense picked up the slack for the offense, and that gave the offense an extra push to keep playing.
What did a coach say to you after the game? And what in the mood of the team and everything like that?
Coach Smith told us we got to be together. We win as a team, we lose as a team. We can't blame this on any one person or any one unit. The offense and the defense are the same. We're one whole team.
I know you want to say hello to some folks out there, so you can go ahead and do that.
I want to say hi to my parents. Thanks for supporting me.
Another one of Eisenhower's defensive stars tonight, Kevin Wright. And Kevin, You know, they ran on you a little bit, but for the most part, you guys handled their offense pretty well.
Yeah, we did. We kept our heads up and kept fighting.
And what was your scheme on defense tonight?
I was just make sure we stopped the run, and we knew they couldn't pass on us, so we had to make sure we could stop the run.
You know, you're getting a chance to play a little bit now with a couple injuries, and how do you feel, your own assessment, how do you feel you're doing?
I feel like I'm doing pretty good for the position I'm in right now.
Does it feel good to be out there all the time now?
Yeah, it really does.
And hitting people?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about move the team now. Where do you guys go from here?
Well, we got to keep our heads up and fight every single game. We got to win every one of them. Our backs are against the wall, but I think we can do it.
Okay, I know you want to say hello to some folks out there, so let you go ahead and do that.
All right. I'll say hi to my family and my sister in Philadelphia, both of them. And yeah.
Eisenhower traveled to Grosse Pointe for the second time this year. This time, they'll take on the Grosse Pointe South Blue Devils. The Eagles are looking forward to bouncing back after a disappointing loss to the Dakota Cougars last week. Eisenhower would receive the opening kickoff, and the Eagles' number 80, Willie Hunter, returns it to the Grosse Pointe South 38-yard line. The Eagles' number 3, Kadari Johnson, gets the Eisenhower ground game started with 2 consecutive first down runs. Eisenhower was forced to punt, however, but on defense, number 55, Lucas Jelli, gets good penetration to make this tackle. Grosse Pointe South punter Cameron Shook punts this ball, and it is down on the Eagle 1-yard line. Andrew Sukowski gets Ike out of the hole with this first down run. Then Kadari Johnson gets another Eagle first down with this nifty run. Andrew Sukowski would get 16 more yards on this run, and the Eagles are moving. Joe Metz would get into the act with this 17-yard run. Despite those runs, Eisenhower was penalized and forced to punt, but they get good coverage from number 55, Lucas Jelli. Eisenhower played tough defense, led by number 90, Salvatore Voltaggio. Eventually, they would force Grosse Pointe South into punting situation. The Blue Devil long snapper sails this ball over the head of the Grosse Pointe South punter for an Eagle safety, and the score was 2-0 Eisenhower. The Eagles get a good return on the free kick from Paul Kessler, but it's brought back because of a holding penalty. In the second quarter, the Eagles' fortunes turn ugly as Kadari Johnson can't find the handle on this pitch and Grosse Pointe South recovers. To make matters worse, the Eagles are penalized for unnecessary roughness on the play. Things got worse for Eisenhower as number 39, Joe Metz, is penalized for this hit out of bounds. Number 35, Kevin Wright, knifes in to help stop the Grosse Pointe South quarterback on this run. Number 44, Cody Corey, makes an outstanding defensive play here, forcing 3rd and 7. Grosse Pointe South fails to convert on 3rd down and attempts a field goal, but it's no good, and it's still 2-0 Eisenhower. With it 1st and 10 on the Eagle 20, Andrew Sukowski would get 12 yards on this run. On the very next play, however, Sukowski is unable to handle the pitch. The fumble is recovered by the Blue Devils' Andrew Trost, and he takes the football to the Eisenhower 6. On 2nd and goal, number 23, Jeff Moore, would run it in for the touchdown, getting the Blue Devils on the board. Grosse Pointe South would make the 2-point conversion, and the score now was 8-2 Blue Devils. On Ike's next drive, the Eagles go to the air. Paul Kessler makes a good adjustment to the football here, but the Eagles are penalized. Kessler then would make this outstanding catch to make it 3rd and 1. Number 35, Kevin Wright, and his defensive line mates team up here to stuff the run against Grosse Pointe South. Ike would get the ball back with under 30 seconds left in the half. Kadari Johnson gets a 24-yard chunk on this run. Max Whitwer can't find anyone open, so he takes off and gets 14 yards before going out of bounds. Whitwer would find Paul Kessler, who gets out of bounds with just 6 seconds left to play. Eisenhower would get one last shot before the half would end, but Whitwer is unable to find anyone. The first half was over. The score, Grosse Pointe South 8, Eisenhower 2. To begin the third quarter, Grosse Pointe South had the football. Number 55, Lucas Jelli, sacks the Grosse Pointe South quarterback for a loss. Number 90, Salvatore Voltaggio, would continue his strong play in the middle with his tackle. When Eisenhower got the ball back, Kadari Johnson follows his blockers and gets an Eagle first down. It's Kadari Johnson again for an Ike first down, but the Eagles would eventually have to punt. On Grosse Pointe South's drive, Eisenhower's number 59, Matt Surma, drags down the quarterback, forcing the Blue Devils to punt. When Eisenhower got the ball back, number 27, Andrew Sukowski, busts this run to the outside and gets 38 yards to the Grosse Pointe South 18. Sukowski's run would lead to this 30-yard field goal attempt by Austin Mitchell. It goes wide right, and the score remains 8-2 Blue Devils. In the fourth quarter, number 39, Joe Metz, stops the Grosse Pointe running back with this tackle. Grosse Pointe South decides to punt on third down, and the Eagles will be glad to get the football back. Ike's drive would go nowhere, and they are forced to punt. Ben Campbell comes on and gets a fine punt away. The relentless Eisenhower defense comes up big on this play. When Ike got the ball back, Andrew Sukowski gets good blocking and goes 14 yards here. The Eagles go for the home run ball, but Whitwer and Kessler are unable to connect, and Ike is forced to punt. Ben Campbell again comes up with a beauty. 51 yards with no return. Grosse Pointe South goes deep, but number 8 Jack Preventure and number 29 John Stromel are deep and in great coverage and break up this pass. On fourth down, Grosse Pointe South would mess up the punt, and Ike would get the ball 1st and 10 deep in Grosse Pointe South territory. With 1 minute and 35 seconds left to play, Ike desperately needed a first down. Number 8, Jack Preventure, takes this pass but is 4 yards short of the first down. With it 4th and 4 on the Grosse Pointe South 18, only 1 minute 28 seconds left to play, the Eagles call timeout twice. When they did run the play, Max Whitwer's pass is knocked down by the Grosse Pointe South linebacker, killing all hopes for an Eagle victory. Grosse Pointe South would take a sweet homecoming victory over the Eagles on this night. The final score, Grosse Pointe South 8, Eisenhower 2. We'll be back with more right after this.
It's another fall Friday night, and your kids should be
playing high school football.
It's a fun game and it's safer than ever.
It's safe because the rules,
The coaching and the equipment are better than ever before.
As a result, serious injuries are at an all-time low. Seriously.
And builds
strong schools, lifetime memories, and tomorrow's community leaders.
And it's mother approved.
It's a great game, and we want to teach it to your kids.
Today's Eisenhower flashback takes us back to the year 2011 with a game between the Eisenhower Eagles and the Big Reds of Chippewa Valley. Eisenhower's defense featured star linebacker number 99 Ray Shepler, who is as tough as any linebacker in Eisenhower history. Eisenhower's number 13 Shane King would get the Eagles' first touchdown of the night on this 1-yard run. With good field position, Eisenhower went right to work as quarterback Joey Zarafa hits number 37 Daniel Vendetti. Play good for 34 yards. Shane King would run it in for Eisenhower, and the touchdown made it 14-0 Eagles. Again, Eisenhower would strike as Joey Zarafa hits Yosef Buhaidar for this touchdown, and it's quickly 21-0 Eisenhower. Eisenhower cornerback number 21 Idodi Kurobo knocks the football loose with this jarring hit. The ball is recovered by the Eagles' Chris Perry. That turnover would lead to this touchdown run by number 6 Orlando Meeks. The extra point was good, and Ike led it 28-0. Eisenhower's Dan Gochai comes on and kicks this 37-yard field goal, making the score now 31-0. The Eagles kept their high intensity to begin the second half as Alfonso Voltaggio returns this kickoff 23 yards. Joe Zarafa would then hit Dan Chmielewski with this 29-yard strike, and it was Eisenhower 38, Chippewa Valley 0. The hard running of number 44, Grant Davis, would result in a first and goal situation for Eisenhower. Number 5, Jay Myron, would cap the scoring on this run. The Eisenhower Eagles would go on to record victory number 300 in their illustrious history, as well as victory number 300 for former legendary coach Bob Lancey. The final score, Eisenhower 45, Chippewa Valley 0. And that's how it was in 2011. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Eisenhower Eagles had a tough one tonight here in Grosse Pointe, coming back for the second time in a season to the Points. This time Grosse Pointe South, and losing to them 8-2. Even though the Eisenhower Eagles had 300 yards in rushing offense tonight, they just could not put it in the end zone. And yeah, turnovers were part of it, but it was a windy night tonight, and the ball was flying all over the place, not going where it was supposed to go. And Max Whitward, in his best passing days, could probably negotiate it tonight, but tonight wasn't his night. So the Eagles drop it 8-2 to the Grosse Pointe South Blue Devils. Next week is Chippewa Valley. We hope to see you then. For Coach Chris Smith, I'm Tim Meyer saying we'll see you next time right here on the Eisenhower Eagle Football Review.